I'm Claire. I'm one of the health and wellbeing coaches from SASP. I'm going to take you through some movements today which are designed to support low back pain. So we're going to be building a little bit of strength around the core and the spine, and we're going to look at some mobility exercises to get your low back moving properly. So you can do these on a mat on the floor, or you can do them lying on your bed. I will let you know some of them. The movements might be a little bit less stable if you're on your bed, but I will let you know as we go. You should feel free to do as much of this as you feel you can. Feel free to miss anything that doesn't feel right to you, but you should also be aware that if you're starting some new exercise, that it might feel a little bit alien or uncomfortable in your body, and that's just normal. And you just need to kind of keep working at it a little bit every day in order to free up your body and start feeling a benefit. So we're going to start lying down, and you can do this, as I say, on your bed or on the floor, and we're going to make sure that our spine is in a nice natural neutral position. So I'm going to put my feet on the floor, my knees are kind of resting into each other, and we're just going to check in with ourselves. You should feel like your bottom is on the floor. There's a little hole under your low back, like a little mouse house. And there's another little hole underneath your neck, and you're resting just on the back of your skull. Now, if you find it uncomfortable to maintain your neck here, you can always put a rolled up towel or something underneath there to give you a little bit of support. And the same with your knees. A larger rolled up towel underneath could help support that. We're going to place the hands on a low belly. We're going to take some big deep breaths in. And you want to feel like you're breathing into your hands. So you're driving that breath all the way down. So your core is really important to support your spine, and part of your core is your diaphragm that controls your breathing. So we're going to start just by getting a little bit of control here. And we're going to take maybe 8 to 10 breaths in your own speed. Just keeping that nice neutral spine with a little gap under your low back and a little gap underneath your neck. And when you feel like you're confident that you're breathing into your hands well, you can take your hands away and just keep going. Feeling like you're filling your lungs and then all the way down to the bottom of your tummy. Okay, our next movement we're going to do is we're going to squash the mouse in that mouse hole. So I want you to imagine you're lying on a beach. You're going to take a breath in. As you breathe out, you're going to press your low back into the sand. Like you're trying to make a print of your body in the sand, and then you're going to release it. And we're going to do this again about 8 to 10 times at your own pace. So you should feel like your belly button is pulling in, your tail is tucking, like a guilty dog. And then you're going to release back to that neutral spine where that gap, that little mouse house, is sitting underneath again. And it's quite usual to find even just this quite small movement a little bit challenging if you're new to it. And that's just fine. But if that isn't quite enough fun for you and you'd like to challenge yourself a little bit more, we can try moving into a bridge. So you can either stay here just doing this little low back print on the floor, or you can peel up, lifting your hips off the floor, squeezing your bum to keep them nice and high. And then we're going to come back down again, nice and controlled, back down to the floor. If you imagine your spine as being like sticky tape, we're going to peel up from the tail first. And at the top, we're going to pause And then we're going to press down from the top to the tail like you're trying to smooth out the air bubbles. If you want to breathe with this movement, you can take a breath in at the bottom, breathe out as you peel up. Take a breath in at the top, breathe out as you peel down. I'm going to do just a couple more of these. And just still being aware that this is the next step up from our first movement. So it may not be something that you want to do many of to start with, but it's certainly something that you will want to work towards. We'll do one more here. Lovely. Now staying lying on the back, we're going to do some dead bugs. So what we're going to do, I'll give you our basic level. We're going to bring the knees up with a nice bend in the knees, and we're going to take the hands up. This is our middle level we're going to do. I'm going to lower my right hand down to the floor, and then I'm going to lower my left hand down to the floor. Now, if it feels like you're not ready to have your legs up for these, you can place your legs on the floor, and you can still just try doing these arm movements, and that's fine. You can bring the legs up. We're going to keep the low back pressed into the floor so that mouse hole is gone, printing the low back into the sand. And if you find you'd like a little bit more challenge, you can go opposite arm and leg and just tap the floor with your toe and bring it back in. So that's your top level challenge. This is where we're working up towards. This is a great movement because it's fairly simple to start with, but you can also challenge yourself by doing it nice and slowly, by trying to keep your body nice and still. And then we're going to come down from that. Take a couple of breaths, just let yourself settle. The next thing we're going to do is a clam. Now, a clam is designed to strengthen these muscles on the side of your hips, and that's really important because that helps to support your pelvis sitting correctly. So we're going to lie on our sides. I'm going to just prop myself up on my shoulder. You can use a pillow if you like. I'm going to straighten my bottom leg and just let my top knee fall over with a bend in that top leg. And then I'm just going to open that knee up and back down again. Nice and controlled, keeping them super slow. And you should feel it just in the side here. Kind of in that dimple on the side of your bottom. That should be the indication that you're doing this right. We're going to do about 8 each side. And when we've done the one side, we're going to roll over. You can just roll over like a sausage. I'm going to turn around so I'm still facing the front. And again, the bottom leg is straight, the top leg is bent. You're going to feel that pull from the hip. It sometimes even helps just to have your hand there. And if you lie down with your head on the shoulder or a pillow, your spine's nice and neutral. That's what we want. Lovely job. Okay. Next, we're going to look at building some strength down the back, all the way down the back from the shoulders down into your bottom. So we're going to get onto all fours, and this is one that maybe if you're working on the bed, you might want to skip because it's not particularly stable unless your bed's super firm. We're going to place the hands underneath the shoulders and the knees underneath the hips, so you're nice and square like a table. And we're going to reach out with one arm, place it back down, reach out with the other arm. And we're going to focus on keeping that tabletop really still. Imagine you've got like a tray of drinks resting on your back. Now, if this feels like not quite enough challenge, you can also take opposite leg behind you. And this is bringing together the whole of your back and making it work in sync, which is exactly what we need it to do. But again, this is one of the movements you'll want to work up towards. If you want to make this harder, you make it nice and slow, you pause, keep everything under control. Lovely. Okay, we're going to finish with some stretches and some mobility movements just to get your spine moving well. We're going to start again with this all fours position, but we're going to take one hand closer to the middle. I'm putting my left hand close to the middle, and I'm going to put my right fingertips to my temple, so my elbows pointing to the floor. And then I'm going to open up and take that elbow towards the ceiling. It's probably not going to go all the way to the ceiling, but maybe it goes to about halfway, maybe it goes a bit further. And I'm going to do about 4 to 6 of these on each side. I'm going to come down, I'm going to swap hands. So now I'm putting my other hand in the middle, and I'm going to go the other direction. So this is kind of working your upper spine. It's making that twist happen higher up the spine. You might feel it around the sort of shoulder blades area as well. And do one more of those. And then again, staying in this position, we're going to do a cat stretch. So hands are on the floor. I'm going to turn my elbows a little bit so that the creases are forward and my shoulders are set back. I'm going to pull my belly button in, arch my back and look back towards my knees, pressing through the heel of my hands. And then release to a flat back. I'm going to take a breath in, breathe out, pull the belly button up. And release. I'm going to do 2 more of these because they feel good. And then if you feel comfortable to do so, we're going to drop back to sit on our heels. And then just slide the hands forward so we're nice and long in the back. Now you may find that you feel more comfortable widening your knees so you can drop between your knees. And that is perfectly fine. We're just going to take a few breaths here. I'm going to keep dropping the tail between the heels. And we're going to finish with one more stretch. This is another one that's really easy to do in bed. We're going to lie on our backs again in that nice neutral position we started in. The feet on the floor, there's a space under the low back, there's a space under the neck. I'm going to take my arms out to the side. I'm going to drop my knees over to my right hand side and I'm going to look over to my left hand. And I'm just going to stay here for about 30 seconds or so. Just letting the muscles relax into it. And then we're going to swap sides. So we're going to put the knees to the left, eyes to the right. And we're just going to hang out here for a little bit. And then just come back up to center. take a couple of breaths here, and you should be ready to go about the rest of your day.